Hi everybody, and welcome to the continuing business information series from the Parish Library. Today we're going to be looking at and exploring market research. So this Seeking Market Research Information presentation will focus on some key components. Market research is a core process within business information literacy and competitive intelligence. And the components that we're going to really focus on today are market size, market segmentation, and market share. And each of these components deals with a specific facet of the market you're looking at. Market size is the measurement of the total volume of a given market. So what you're looking at is how big is this world that you're trying to get involved with, how big is this world that the customers are kind of moving around in spending their money. So what we'll take a look at here are a couple of quick examples. So this example here is looking at the bioinformatics market by region. So we're looking at the US and Canada, total dollars in millions over several years, and then projecting out into the future. Again, a key component of market research reports is that they will try and predict what's going to happen. And that's why they're often so expensive. Another example here are the total sales and forecasting of the breakfast cereal market. So it's showing you how big this market is. And if you were a company trying to start a new breakfast cereal product, this is what you would look at to try and determine, at least at a major macro level, how much of this market you might try and capture. And we'll get into some other facets of this in just a minute. Now, market segmentation is the division of a market into different homogeneous groups of customers or products that customers would potentially buy. So within this, there are these 5 key points. A market segment is measurable. So you can actually look at and acquire some data to identify that, yes, this is a segment of the market. It is accessible by communication and distribution by distribution channels. And what that means is it's not babies are not really a market segment. Parents who have babies is a market segment because you can reach them with advertising, marketing tactics. A market segment will have a different response to a marketing mix. You would try and sell a car to an 18 to 24-year-old very differently than you would try to sell a car to a 35 to 42-year-old with teenage kids. Each of those markets is in a position that would respond differently to how you're trying to reach out to them. A market segment is durable. It means it lasts. It recurs over and over. There is a substance there that you can continue to try and sell a product or a service to this segment, or that it's something that will continue to grow as people try and buy this. It's substantial enough to be profitable. It's not so small, so narrow that you're going to create a market segment that makes no money. There's no purpose there. Again, the size of it is important so that you can target your product, your service, target a specific type of customer that will buy your product or service and potentially make a profit. So the examples here that we look at, here's an industry level market segment. We're looking at household service cleaners and then the actual subcategories within this. All-purpose cleaners, toilet and tub, specialized cleaners, etc. What you're seeing here are the little niche segments that people would be spending their money in, and how you would market these products to different types of consumers is why you look at them as segments. Here we've jumped back and looked at the bioinformatics market by category. So you've got this big multi-billion-dollar bioinformatics market, but it actually has 3 components: tools and databases, data analysis, and then hardware and infrastructure. Again, you would target these segments very differently depending on the type of customer that you're trying to get. Finally, we're looking at a consumer level market segment. So here are the different types of travelers that spend their money at hotels in the U.S. Personal, business, conference, vacation. These market segments are at that consumer level, the different types of customers, and then you would determine the different and varied needs that they have to try and draw them to your hotel. So now market share is talking about the individual players within a market or an industry. So whereas market size looked at the entire market, market segmentation looked at either the product or service variations or the different types of customers, market share looks at the players in that industry. So now you're looking at directly the competition. So there's a formula. Market share is a firm's sales divided by the total market sales. This gives you then a percent of how much of the market do they control. So we can look at sales of breakfast cereals. Now before we were looking at the segment, different types of breakfast cereals. Now we're looking at the players, the companies, Kellogg, General Mills, Post, and then how much of the market they actually control, with Kellogg and General Mills clearly dominating this market. Pepsi, Post, and the rest all much smaller. Moving on and looking at this, here's the estimated synthetic gene company market share. And we'll zoom in and take a look at both revenue and the percent of the market. Here you've got one company dominating this market, with Life Technologies at 36% of the market. That's how much they control. The others, DNA, Origin, much smaller percentages. This is then where you as a potential competitor would start to try and identify and propose to potential investors, to your employees, to your managing directors, how much of the market you would be able to capture if you moved into the synthetic gene market. So this has been a quick summary of seeking market research information and looking at the three key components: market size, market segmentation, and market share. As always, if you've got any questions, contact us at the Parish Library, and otherwise, we'll see you next time.